Hello, how you doing? I'm Julian Brown, and I'm back with another series of videos. This time is going to be about synthetic drugs, some of the dangers, long-term, short-term effects, of course. Um, we'll also be getting into some of the names that it goes by on the street, so you can be able to identify it if ever approached. And hopefully this gives you some insight into the world of synthetic drugs. All right, so first we'll start off with what is a synthetic drug. Synthetic drugs are created using man-made chemicals rather than natural ingredients. A number of synthetic drugs on the market already. Some of the more popular ones: ecstasy, LSD, methamphetamines. Those are examples of synthetic drugs. Synthetic marijuana goes by the name of spice, K2. There's synthetic stimulants known as bath salt, and another drug known as N-bomb. That's one I haven't heard of. I've heard of the other ones, but that's a new one. We'll get into that one later. These are all described as designer drugs. Designer drugs are a synthetic drug, chemically made, that is a version of an illegal drug that was altered to avoid having to classify it as a real drug. So basically, a chemist is like pretty much doing an experiment to create a new drug that can be sold legally on the internet, in stores, and it allows dealers to make money without breaking the law. So as law enforcement tries to catch up with the new chemicals, manufacturers are pretty clever at being able to come up with new drugs and new ways to kind of steer clear of the law. So this is a very tricky subject even for law enforcement to get a hold of here. Some of these drugs are sold over the internet and in certain stores, which are all disguised, which they kind of change the labels on. Some are described as herbal smoking blends. Others are described as not for human consumption, such as herbal incense or plant food, bath salts, or jewelry cleaner. Due to the constantly growing number of chemicals that are developed, designer drug users have no way of knowing what drugs they might contain. Further, as a small modification made to known drug may result, and often does, in a new drug with greatly different effects. Users cannot predict the impact on the health from substance they experiment with. In the United States, some 200 to 300 new designer drugs were identified between 2009 and 2014, most of them manufactured in China. More than 650 new designer drugs have flooded into Europe in the past 10 years. Some contain chemicals that have still not been completely identified and whose effects on the human body and mind are unknown. So essentially, you are taking something that you have no clue how it's been altered. You have no clue what's in it. And to a certain extent, maybe the people making it may not even fully understand exactly what they're putting in this or how they're altering these drugs. And nobody even understands the effects. So that's just how dangerous synthetic drugs are. We'll get into some more examples in the next couple videos. All right, hopefully this gives somebody some insight, and hopefully this helps somebody who may be curious. All right, thank you.